All right, Bible readers, it's time for another quick Bible study. And today we are getting into the book of Isaiah. I'm kind of skipping over the last few chapters of Song of Solomon. Like I said in my previous video, I would encourage you to read that. It's a very interesting breakdown and look at it from kind of two different perspectives. From the one of a relationship between a man and a woman, and as a picture of Jesus Christ and all that he gave and sacrificed, and kind of how he, the kind of love that he has for us. Okay, moving on to Isaiah chapter 1 through 4 today. So the opening verse of Isaiah clearly tells us what this book is about. It's literally the vision of the prophet Isaiah in the days of four different Jewish kings. So let's just read the first verse. It says, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. All right, so that's kind of the framework for what this book is all about. It's a big book. We're going to be in it for 2 weeks. So buckle down. What you're going to see is a lot of parallels to what's going on in the United States. But make no mistake about it, this book was not written to us. It wasn't written to the dispensation of the grace of God. It was written to the Jews under the dispensation of law. So just understand that this book was not written to you, but it was written for our learning, and there is a bunch to learn. So let's just jump right in. Second verse reveals a pattern that man has followed from the beginning of time. So let's read it. And honestly, when I was reading this passage, I could barely get past the first 4 verses. It took me like probably 30 minutes to just get past the first 4 verses. And sometimes that's the way it is. So Isaiah 1:2 says, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me." Well, there you go. Adam and Eve rebelled against the Lord. Don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, they heard a few little subtle words from the devil, and what did they do? They ate. And the Lord had to kick them out of the Garden of Eden. Otherwise, they would take hold on the tree of life and live forever, and that was not part of God's plan whatsoever. So, all right. And then, you look at the whole Jews' existence that we've gone through already, as far as, traveling through the desert and getting set up with the law and all those things, and they just could never put it together. They had little moments of time, but for the most part, the story of the Jews is a story of rebellion, and that's the end of that. So let's read these verses from Isaiah and Romans and look at some comparisons and some differentiations between the dispensation of law and the dispensation of the grace of God. All right, Isaiah 1:4 says, "Ah, sinful nation." Okay, well, it's referring to Israel, a people, referring to the Jews, laden with iniquity. Iniquity is sin. A seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. These are not positive words. They have forsaken the Lord. Again, whenever you see Lord spelled in all caps, it's specifically speaking of God, the Father. Whenever you see Lord with a capital L and lowercase O-R-D, it's specifically referring to God the Son, or Jesus the Son. So they have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Okay, so keep this verse in mind. And I want to read the Apostle Paul's writing to the Christian church in Rome and addressing Jews that are there, as well as comparing and contrasting the differences between the Jews and the Gentiles. So in Romans chapter 3, verse 9, and we're going to read 4 verses. I think it's 4. So Paul writes, "What then? Are we better than they?" So he's saying, so actually, we is the Jews, because Paul was a Jew, and they are the Gentiles. And then he answers his own question. Paul's famous for. He asks a lot of rhetorical type questions. He asks and answers. And he says, "No, in no wise, for we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they are all under sin." Okay, so everybody's under sin. Just like that verse in Isaiah about everybody being in iniquity. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. So just a clarification. Romans 3:11, there is none that understandeth, there is none that seeketh after God. Verse 12, they are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Okay, so kind of some parallels between the way the Apostle Paul is talking to Christians under the dispensation of the grace of God and the way Isaiah or the Lord is talking through Isaiah to the nation of Israel under the dispensation of law. In other words, there's kind of a pattern here, right? Like everybody's a sinner, everybody's gone backward or gone away or rebelled, that kind of thing. And so that's why ultimately we needed Jesus Christ to come down and save us from ourselves, because trying to allow the Jews to save themselves via following the law didn't work. And of course, God knew it wouldn't work, but this is all part of his divine plan, which I understand some of it. I don't claim to understand all of it. So let's move on. So the remainder of chapter 1 of Isaiah is the Lord telling the Jews what will happen to them and their land if they persist in their rebellion, and what the solution is if they should choose to humble themselves. And so as you read these next chapters, it just, it's kind of like, it's not good news. It's curse after curse after curse. If you do this, then I'm going to do that kind of thing. So in Isaiah 2, verse 5, it says, "O house of Jacob." Okay, if you don't remember, Jacob is the man that became Israel. "O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of the Lord." Well, yeah, you know what? We should all strive to walk in the light of the Lord. Okay, but this chapter ends with a stark reality: the Lord exalting himself over those that are proud and lifted up. Again, we hear a lot about pride and that kind of thing in our culture today. And it's not just the homosexuality movement, it's everywhere. Everybody's proud of this and proud of this and proud of that, and it just goes on and on and on. You don't see people too often saying, "I'm proud of the Lord. I'm proud to be a Christian." If people were really proud to be a Christian, guess what they'd be doing? What do you think? They'd be talking out loud to whoever they could about the Lord. Most Christians are pretty tight-lipped about the Lord, and so I think their pride in themselves overwhelms their pride in the fact that they're a Christian. Okay, Isaiah 2:11, "The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day." That day is referring to like Judgment Day. Anyway, not going to get all into that. Isaiah 2:12, "For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low." Okay, so getting the idea, when we lift ourselves up against the Lord, nothing good's ever going to happen. Okay, so if you take nothing else, I think that's one of the big things that we can take as a thing to learn from the book of Isaiah is let's not lift ourselves up. Let's not put our pride in ourselves before the Lord. Chapter 3 continues with consequences of people lifting themselves up against a holy God. Chapter 3, verse 8 says, "For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory." So, okay, moving on. Verse 9, "The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves." Hey, does this sound familiar? They declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Homosexuality today and all of its various, LGBTQ plus P, whatever, it's all in your face. They're going after our children. They're not even hiding it. It's on video. If you don't believe me, hey, hit me up. I'll share you a link where leaders of the LGBTQP movement are literally saying, "We're coming for your children." All right, so if you got a problem with that, get off your high horse, humble yourself before the Lord, because the Lord sees all of this kind of stuff as an abomination. It doesn't matter what dispensation you're in, God doesn't change. He just changes the way he deals with men. But the sin of sodomy is always an abomination to God. All right, so get over it. Isaiah 3:10, "Say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings." In other words, we're going to reap what we sow. "Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him." Yeah. Hey, it shall be ill with him. Well, I don't know if this is exactly talking about physical illness, but boy, the world, and especially these Western cultures, they think they're so smart, they're so proud, but hey, we're the sickest people on the planet. Go think about that for a minute. Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors. Hey, wake up, America. Listen to this for a minute. Children are their oppressors. Who do you think is guiding our entire culture? It's children. And then the only old wise men we have are idiots like Biden that they can't even speak. They fall down on stairs. All right. All right. Moving on. And women rule over them. Hey, now we're going to step on some toes. So back your toes up because I'm about to step on them. All you got to do is look at what's going on in almost every Christian church in this nation. Women are ruling it. And it's all heart and emotions and feelings and rock and roll bands up on the stage because the youth are their oppressors. Hey, church is screwed up. Oh, my people. They which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. Hey, I know this is talking about Israel. This could not be a better description of America in 2023. There's just no better description. Children are oppressors, ruled by women, and all of this is destroying our path. All right. The chapter continues on with a hyper-detailed description of the ruin of a civilization rebelling from the Lord. Well, yeah, again, all Western civilizations are rebelling from the Lord. Thankfully, we live in the right dispensation where God is pouring out his goodness upon everybody. I'll come back around to that in a second. Chapter 4 starts off with a verse that sounds very similar to America, but make no mistake about this. This is the God of Jacob talking to his children, the nation of Israel, and warning them that they are he's warning them of what they're risking by their behavior. Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by the name and take away our reproach. I don't think I have to say much there. So praise the Lord. Look, I've said it a million times in this video. It seems like I'll probably say it a million times. If you don't like it, I understand. So praise the Lord. We find ourselves in the dispensation of the grace of God. If you don't know where that is in the Bible, hit me up. I'll send you a whole study on dispensation. It'll blow your mind. It's the key that unlocks the Bible. If you're not rightly dividing the Bible, as it talks about in 2 Timothy 2:15, and you don't understand dispensations, I guarantee you're confused. It's that simple. Because what everybody tends to do is tries to take everything from anywhere in the Bible and apply it to themselves. Of course, they're not taking everything, right? Nobody wants to go out and kill calves or oxen or sheep or doves or pigeons to sacrifice or atone for their sins, but they want to take pieces and parts of that Jewish law and say, oh, we still got to get dunked in water and all this kind of thing. It's a mess. You can't pick and choose with God. It's his way or the highway, like literally. Okay, so tomorrow's reading starts off with a song using a vineyard as an analogy. So if I haven't totally pissed you off yet, I will, but come back and watch. All right, love you. Thanks for being here, and I'm out.